Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome along to Martin and David Talk Rangers, Martin and David Show, whatever it's called. It's called something. Hello, welcome along. Hope you're all well. And I am, of course, joined by Mr. David Edgar,
Uh,
sporting his aeroplane headset tonight.
yeah, headphones on tonight. Yeah, I had some camera issues earlier because obviously I don't use the camera very often. So it tends to just sit in a drawer, and then I brought it out tonight at 5:02 with my usual sort of plan in place, and it didn't work. I apologise to the listeners in advance tonight because I have a new dog and he barks at everything, at people crossing the road and stuff. So yeah, if he gets involved in the show tonight, I apologise in advance.
Well, see, actually, my daughter's out playing,
Ah,
and my
must
dog
have been a nice night
hates
for
it.
it.
Yes, but my dog hates it. So he
Why?
stands at the window. I don't know, he just hates
Oh,
being outside.
yeah, he doesn't like that she's
So he
outside
just
playing.
randomly barks to try and get her back in the house.
That's it. That's
So
it. People don't like it. They can buy us a great big studio that we'll all go and use as Rangers podcasters, and we'll do it from there. But no, otherwise, it's a wee touch of reality involved. How about you?
yeah, I'm all right. My hair's growing back, which is good.
I, I wish mine would. That
You know,
was
but you know what it's like. Well, you don't know anymore, but back in the day, when it grows back in, you can't really do much weight until it gets to a certain
yeah,
length,
certainly.
and then you
Yeah.
can get it cut and stuff like that. By the way, just come back to that comment about a studio for Rangers podcasters. I think that would probably be the busiest studio in the world.
Yeah, it would be at the moment. Everybody's got one, but then again, I wouldn't use it because it would involve leaving the house.
Leaving the
So
house. Yeah.
there was some talk of that among my podcasters. He said, wouldn't it be great if we had like if we got a studio put together? And I said, well, if we are getting one, it will be in my garden, and none of you are allowed to visit. So it won't work. They can have one, and I'll.
It would be a hell of an expense, though, for somebody who doesn't use a camera.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And also, it would involve, spending time with them, which
Mm, yeah.
ideally, yeah.
I don't like spending time with my underlings either.
No, no, no. It should be special when they get to see me. But yeah, it's always nice to chat. All things Rangers. I think we're now in the stage of the season where we're just the runoff. Really, we're just waiting for it to finish and start the new campaign, the new era. Really, because that's what this is, Martin. This isn't just a new
Mm.
uh, a new season that will be upon us and whatnot. It'll be, we're going to have a new-ish chief exec. We're going to have a new director of football. We're going to have a new manager. We're hopefully going to have a load of new players, and we're going to have, most importantly, new owners. So, I mean, it's everything's different.
Very much is. Actually, I know they haven't even been announced yet, right? And obviously, we'll talk about sporting directors and stuff like that, which I said earlier on the day. I find it really difficult talking about sporting directors because I still don't know what a sporting director is, right? The clue should be in the title somewhere, right? But I'm still not 100% sure. But see all these rumours about Daniel Farker at Leeds. Now, I don't know how much truth's in them, right? But some part of me likes that because what that says to me is that these guys are pretty ruthless.
Oh, 100%. I mean, funnily enough, do an English Premiership show, and we said on it last week that the first thing that Burnley and Leeds should do is sack their manager, because there are different managers. I'm increasingly coming around to this. One of the great fallacies that you hear people say, how would Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp do, or Carlo Ancelotti do with a side fighting relegation? Nothing. They wouldn't be there,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't hire Lewis Hamilton to drive a bus. There are different skill sets for different jobs, and there are managers who get you out of the Championship in England and are brilliant at it, and there are managers who are good at solidifying you as a Premier League side. Then there are managers who can take you on to that next level, and then there are the very elite who win things. So yeah, I mean, if you upgrade your your players, why wouldn't you consider upgrading your manager as well? It's common sense to me. It is harsh on Farker from a human level,
Mm-hmm.
but from a business level, what you had when you were in the Championship was a manager who's proven at taking teams to the top of the Championship. So he's the right appointment. what you've got when you go into the Premiership is a manager with a really bad Premier League record. Scott exactly the same. So it is an interesting one, whether or not they decide to go that route. Most clubs don't, but then how often do you see a promoted team sack the manager who took them up in October?
So quickly. But it's so often said, isn't it, that that manager deserves time because he's the one that got you there. That seems to be the conversation.
I understand that on a human level, because our sense of fairness, I think, as people would say, of course, he's been punished for being successful. But to me, I think I think it'll become more prevalent, by the way, that people will look at managers who get you up and they'll say, by the way, we need to get out this division. We want you to get us there. And then if you do, you get an X amount of money. You get like a big, but then we move on to a different manager. And like I say, if I was a club in the Championship, there are managers I'd hire like that. And the second they got me up, I'd be, thanks very much, but we need someone now who can keep us in this division, and your skill set isn't built for that. So yeah, absolutely, it's a horses for courses thing. If you were going up to, and they are, if you're going up to a better division, you accept you'll need better players. Well, why wouldn't you necessarily need a better manager as well? It would be.
Do you not think a lot of that though? Like you say, you do an EPL show, and I don't want to turn this into an EPL show, but I just think you need to look at the 3 teams that get promoted last season and how poor. And I don't know if that's just a money thing though.
No, well, yes and no. Yeah, there is a money thing, but they all spend big money. The gap is enormous. That's the thing. See, coming out of the Premier League, and when you get managers who come up and they want to do the same things that they've done, it won't work. You try some of the stuff that you get away with to Sheffield Wednesday or to Plymouth. You try that against not even the top boys, but against Brentford or Bournemouth, then you're going home with your balls in a sling, right? They will beat you, and they will beat you comfortably. So there is a gap, and it's whether or not you believe that the man you have can plug that gap. Or also, it depends where you are. Ipswich, I think, understood this year we're going up, which is further than we expected to be really at this point. We'll go up, we'll have a go at it, we'll bank the money, and then if we come back down, and now they're going back down with a manager who, has gotten them up before, has got promotions before. So yeah, I just think, as I say, there are different player skill sets for different things that you need for different clubs, and there are different manager skill sets that you have. So it is a really interesting one, whether or not they go ahead and do that, because he has had a couple of goes at the Premier League and not done very well, and it's exactly the same with Scott Parker at Bournemouth, incidentally, at Burnley, sorry. So yeah, do you go up and you say, one thing that does actually make me quite happy is that Leeds the past couple of years tried to get Andoni Areola when he was at Rayo Vallecano, and they also had talks with Arne Slot when he was at Feyenoord. So that suggests to me that they are quite good at picking out managerial talent that then goes on and proves that it's good, because both of them are clearly very good football managers having fantastic seasons. So hopefully they are aware of that they keep that going, that they identify managerial talent, because that's what we need to do. We need to find one of these guys who can come in and revolutionise the club.
Well, I was going to ask you, because you know how, like, if there's even the tiniest rumour, I would imagine your inbox is probably quite full, right? Has there been any question yet about, well, Farker leaving Leeds? Or do you see any correlation with him coming to Rangers?
Well, I think we would need to wait and see if he actually does first. Do you know what I think it is at the moment? That there's nothing coming out in terms of comment from the club about this and takeover and stuff, and there's not a lot football wise to distract us either, really. So I think that people, because these days people spend so long online, they talk about this stuff and they talk about this stuff and they talk about this stuff, that it can kind of move for the part of their brain where the filing system is, in the file that says this is just a discussion, this is just a hypothetical, and it sort of moves into the bit of the brain that says reality. And I think that the Farker things like that as well, where people are saying, and then when you've discussed it non-stop for 3 days, it becomes a part of the furniture, doesn't it? It's just a part of the conversation. He hasn't even left Leeds. So, there's a lot of steps to go before it would be considered. I get, obviously you can see why a rumour like that comes. Oh, he's at Leeds, taking over here, and then they could move him, and you understand it. But at the moment, it is totally all just speculation.
As if life just worked like that, but as if as if the 49ers just went to Farker, right, by the way, you're not good enough for the Premier League, but do you want to do us a favour and go to Scotland?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. They might want to do that, and he might go, no, I'm not doing that. I'll get another job, somewhere else. So, I think it's one of these neat solutions on paper that, as you say, doesn't quite take into account human beings and the capriciousness of the situation. Hell, if they sacked him after taking Leeds up, would he want to work with them?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a thousand different factors, but I understand, why we do this, why we speculate on stuff like this, because it's fun. That's part of being a football fan. So at least it's nice to be speculating about things with a wee bit of excitement rather than trepidation, which has been the case for far too long.
Do you know, it's weird. It's funny you say that, right? Even though that we've known for quite some time that the league was done, right? We had that I think we all had that wee tiny hope that maybe we could go and do another wee good run in the Europa League, and maybe, just maybe, this time it could be slightly different. But since that result, I don't know. It's been the strangest feeling, because I'm not angry, I'm not annoyed, but it's genuinely like Rangers are playing at the weekend, and I'm going into that game, David, going, yeah.
It's
just, but it feels different, and not in a good way.
It's we're currently inhabiting a hinterland between the past and the future. That's why this is this little interregnum between those two particular periods. So that's why it's a strange feeling, because it's unreality, really. At the moment, we are waiting for something that we all know is coming, and then we can start. I'll give you an example. Recently, a guy chided me a few weeks ago online. He says, you should be there. If it wasn't for this takeover, we would all be, at the gates demanding change. And I went, but there is this takeover, that's why. So you have to act as in what is. You're absolutely right. If we did the season that we'd had and there's no change, we'd be demanding change, but change is coming. And so there's no point going out and demanding it, but, well, actually, you might want to do that. Go to Ibrox and demand, a change of board, because you'll get one, and you can claim that your campaign was successful, I suppose. But so yeah, that, like, the games from at the end of the season, the Rangers games, I want to win them. Clearly, I'd like to enjoy them. I'd like some good football to be played. But the reality is, it doesn't matter in terms of, we're not going to win anything from it. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change your opinion on any of the players. I dare say, we'll get over the next few days, the usual stuff about, they're playing for the futures and all that kind of stuff. A lot of their futures will be decided already. And until we know who the new people are in the sporting director role, although that looks as though it's becoming a bit clearer in the managerial role, then you don't know what the future's going to even begin to look like at the present. Will we get a manager in who's all at attacking? Will we get a manager in who previously has been big on defence? We don't know. So yeah, at this moment, it's waiting, and we are kind of between. Do you know what it is? It's a notice period between two jobs, when you're still working for the company you're leaving. That's what this is at the moment, where it's that weird sense of, change is coming, but it's not here yet, and you just need to tick down the days till it arrives.
Yes. Now, there was a report on Sky Sports. I think it was on Sky Sports News, David, but it was certainly on Sky Sports Scotland on Twitter about 25 minutes ago. I don't know. Did you see it?
I haven't been online before this. No, I was working.
No.
Recording.
Well, it reads, and I'll read it. Rangers and the US consortium, who are set to take over at Ibrox, confirmed to Sky Sports News they are in productive conversations over a deal and are working on plans to inject additional capital. That is effectively, without really telling us anything that we don't already know, they kind of are telling us, yeah, look, this will be done soon.
Yeah, yeah, that's basically it. That's what the noises that have been coming out have been saying, that it's moving towards its conclusion. The time frame hasn't really changed. It's probably initially, back when this first broke, it was they're hoping to get it done for June. Then I think it became clear they could get it done before the end of the season. I've spoken to one of the people who's selling their shares about it, and deal's done with him. So, and he says, this is progressing, this is happening. So yeah, it's yeah, none has changed since you and I last spoke. They're going through everything. They're doing the stuff they need to. That's interesting, because that's the first public acknowledgement, though, that rather than an unofficial one. That's the first that they've actually said, this is kind of coming. So I don't think we'll get I might be wrong, but I don't think we'll get an announcement in April. But I think we'll get one in May, and everything will be done and handed over by then.
Yeah, we all hear things, don't we? And from what I heard, and I don't have any sources, you're my only source, but I didn't hear it. I didn't hear this for you, right?
Yeah.
But what I did hear was that it's effectively done, and they probably could announce it late April, but it's more likely going to be early May.
Yeah, the way, like, again, we would like things to go a bit quicker as fans, but they will go at their own pace. They are working to, we know this already. We're going to talk about the potential director of football hire. All of this is happening, with the approval and guidance of the people who are taking over. This is all, the future is being planned for as we speak. Work is being done. So it's not a case of nothing happens until the day that they do they hand over the keys and then they come in and they start work that day. That's not the case. So yeah, I just like a lot of people, I wish we could fast forward a few weeks and be right into it.
I said this the other day. Do you know what my want would be? Just out of pure pettiness. Just pure pettiness. Day of the Scottish Cup final. Day of the Scottish Cup final. Just announce it. Please, just 5-3. Announce the takeover. Just out of pure sheer pettiness. I would love that.
No, I mean, I can understand that. Yeah, like, as I say, they'll have in fact, I'd be stunned if they don't have an announcement plan put together. There will be a PR campaign. The campaign's not the right word, but a plan that they'll have in place. That this day this gets in it, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do this. So all of that will be, as I say, in the pipeline. So now it's a waiting game for us fans.
Yeah, I hope. I hope it's not a sign of things to come, and I hope it is a lot of nonsense. Even though we've seen this, we'll just really quickly on this. You might not even have seen it. Have you seen that honking Top Gun about?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I looked at that and I thought, no, this is another one of the turkey jobs.
I didn't like it either. Maybe it looked better in the flesh, but it just looked, I'm not one, by the way, for wild kits either. So it's not a case of me saying I want, one of those mad ones that you see in England. Some of the top. I'm not. I like kind of traditional strips. I don't know. I thought it was bland. That was the word that came to mind when I was looking at it. But we'll wait and see. At the end of the day, so long as the people in it are winning things, then Although there is a thing, people say a kit can become a classic if the team wearing it do well. Helicopter Sunday kit, you never see people wearing it because it's so horrible, and it was such a badly made piece of tat, that particular kit. So I'm not sure that exactly holds, but yeah, I need to see it. Need to see it in the flesh, but it does look. There's nothing wrong, I think, with nods to past strips, but that one just looks like a direct remake, and that's a bit dull.
Yeah, and that's that. I was going to say Super Sunday. Oh, that's me get that English football in my brain. Helicopter Sunday. Yeah, that top was That
Oh my
top was
goodness.
hideous.
One of the worst. One of the worst.
Oh,
I'd say the worst non-Puma home kit that we've had. Yeah.
I can't think of any worse, to be fair.
That Puma effort with the wee buttons that didn't do anything on the collar.
Oh.
That was one of the worst. But yeah, the worst. The other one, and even when it's the wrong color of blue and the material's weird. It's not a nice kit.
Do you collect tops?
I do, yes.
Have you got them all?
I've got a replica
Mhm.
of every Rangers home away third and goalkeeper since 1968. That's as far back as I go. Then I've got older kits like but their remakes are not from back then. And then other collections I've got match worn signed kits, that kind of thing. So and I collect leisure gear, particularly 70s, 80s, and 90s as well. So the t-shirts and the training
Mhm.
tops and tracksuits and stuff. So yeah, I do.
Guy,
So
I got one of my co-hosts, Brian. He's got is it the eight? I want to say the 88 or the 89 training. Um,
I have
tracksuit.
89. I know the one you the white.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the blue. Yeah, as
Oh.
smart as toast. Yeah, I've got one of those, and I think I've got every training top from the 80s and 90s.
Mm.
Because it wasn't. It's not like now with a store where they bring out 20 a season. They were like two, so they were easy enough to get a hold of. But
Yeah, and was a home top not released every 2 year back then?
oh yeah, sometimes three.
Sometimes three. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
84 to 87, then 87 to 90. Then it went to two, and then it became every year when it became a cash cow kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, well back then, yeah, it was considered to be ripping the fans off to release one. More than that, yeah, change days.
And now it's not considered to be ripping the fans off when it's
Now we've got
80 quid for a
four,
kid's.
fourth kits, yeah,
Oh,
fourth kits, yeah.
I know. I bought my daughter the third kit for this season,
Mhm.
the kind of red and blue one. 80 quid.
I know. I must admit, I nearly fell off a chair when someone told me the price of kids sizes of kids strips. I must admit, I nearly fell off my chair when I get told that. It's absolutely scandalous, but it's not just us in this case. This is the
No, it's not.
industry
It's
wide.
worldwide.
That this is what people charge for it. But
Yeah, I left Edmiston House in a straitjacket,
oh,
steaming at the top of my lungs.
it's when they give you all the bollocks about, oh, it's AirTex and it does this and AirTex and 80s technology, so I doubt it'll be that. But, the strip is designed for enhanced breathability. And you're like, mate, it's a Fitbit app. I'm buying it to wear it to the Fitbit, right?
Yeah.
Stop your pish.
Mate,
I'm
I'm
not,
17 stone. I ain't playing no football.
I'm buying this. Right? I would not be spending 80 quid on something that looked like this normally. I'm buying it because it's my clubs and I want to support my club. And that's the sole reason.
Righty ho. So Kevin Thelwell, I don't know how you pronounce his surname.
No, that's right, Thelwell, yeah.
Is it Thelwell? There we go. That's going to be
And hopefully he does sell well.
Oh, boo! No, I knew. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. No, you're better than that, David.
I hope he does, though.
Yes, well, do you know the job that he's going to have on his hands, along with Nils Coppin? If he gets appointed, I don't,
And if Nils Coppin's still there, yeah.
and if Nils Coppin's still there, which is a big if, for me. I'm just going to call him Kevin, right? It's easier for me. He seems to have a fairly good resume behind him, David.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is that, firstly, this is somebody who does this job. And that sounds, I know, really obvious, but we haven't been doing it. We haven't been hiring people who have formerly done this job somewhere else. Niels Coppin is an example of that. We have taken people in and given them an opportunity. That's the phrase that you hear a lot. We've taken people, and the idea being that they were on the up, that they were hungry executives, etc. People, but hasn't worked. So the next stage, the sensible stage, is you take people who are doing the job elsewhere in comparable size either club, which is difficult, or league, right, where they're doing the job on a big canvas kind of thing. So the fact that we've got Patrick Stewart, now you compare Patrick Stewart's CV to, for example, Jim Gillespie, who was John Bennett's first choice for that job. They're not comparable. You compare Thelwell's with some of the names that had been mooted previously, they're not comparable. This is a guy who's worked at 2 Premiership clubs. He's worked MLS. He's got lots of previous experience. That doesn't mean he'll be a success. We know that, right? There's no guarantee, same as with players. But it does mean he knows what the job is, and he knows what the job entails, and he knows that he can start on day. And by the way, there's always in any job local things to pick up. There's things you need to know about the specific and you won't get that, the specific company that you're working for and the specific league, etc. You won't get that till you're here. I think we understand that. But it's the fact that Rangers are going out and getting this, as opposed to saying, here's a young guy who's been an assistant somewhere that's done this, or who wants to move into this. No, I'm glad we're going and we're getting people who've done the job previously, because we've tried this young, exciting, hungry guys who are making the step up, and it has not worked for us. So I think we need that. Well, we need that. The thing about the takeover is we don't just need an influx of money, although we do, but we also need an influx of knowledge and of experience and of skill, and people who can come and deliver all of that instantly, not people. We've had the situation in the past few years, we've had 5 or 6 different key people learning on the job, and it's looked like that. And there's been nobody there at times, no growing up. And we've seen that, and the board have tried to do a bit, and they've, made it worse, really. So now we're at least going out and we're trying to hire people who know what the job entails, how to do the job. And you're right, he's decent record. The job he's done at Everton has been decent in terms of he came in when they were in a lot of financial issues at Everton at the time. They massive overspend, out of control wage bill, PSR problems, and he sorted all that out while they're keeping them in the Premier League. His recruitment has not been flawless. There's no doubt about that.
Did he hire Sean Dyche?
He hired Sean Dyche, but then he also hired David Moyes. So
well, yeah, yes,
on his watch. So technically, so I mean, his remit at Everton was keep them up, lower the wage bill, make the PSR stuff go away, but while keeping Everton in the Premier League, and he's done that. He's been successful. Now, again, recruitment is never going to be 100%. We realise that. I think that some Everton fans are probably feeling that the recruitment's a bit better now than they did 6 months ago, because with the right manager, some of the players that had looked pretty poor, I'm thinking about Beto as a good example of that, who just looked an absolute dud of a sign, an absolute disaster. The last few months you've went, oh, actually, he's quite good.
Yeah.
So there's all of those things as well. But recruitment is specific to a club and where it is. I would argue Ross Wilson's recruitment at Rangers was very poor overall. But then at Forest, can't he argue? He's doing really well. They're flying. So, if he got the criticism for us, he needs to take the credit for that. And I don't think he did a good job at Rangers, but you can't argue with what's happening at Forest.
That shows you the difficulty, though, at the market that we're shopping in, I think, compared to the markets that they're shopping in down south.
I think that with Thelwell, what they're going for is somebody who's not sexy, right, but he's solid.
Not a bad looking guy.
I think there's an understanding of solidity is required at Rangers at the start. Over the last few years, you've seen our board occasionally try to kind of shoot for the moon, right? And it doesn't work. You need to build something. You need to build foundations, and you need to.
David, Rangers have just announced. We are delighted to announce the appointment of Kevin Thelwell as sporting director.
Oh, there you go. Live.
Thelwell will join the club from Everton following the expiry of his contract with the Toffees.
There you go then, live and broadcast. So there you go. And I think it's a sensible appointment. Let's wish the guy all the best and hope that he can, deliver for the fans, because it's vitally important that we get this right.
Very much so. Very much so. We'll do another 10 minutes max, folks, so I can let David get away and because I know what it's like when you've got 1,000 things to write now just on one announcement. So we'll do 10 minutes more, absolutely max. And actually, I think what you've actually raised there is a good point because there's been so much talk since the defeat to Bilbao about Barry and the future. What does the future hold for Barry?
Yeah.
You just mentioned there that this board, this new board, which by the way, this siren just convinces me even more that no, this will be the new board will be announced shortly. That if we're bringing in a sporting director who's got a bit of previous experience, and we're not trying to shoehorn a young guy into the job, I think the same goes for the manager, David.
Oh, 100%. Listen, you know, the debate about Barry, he's not going to be the manager next season, and I think that's you know that we all wanted it to be smashing, and there's been good moments in it, Fenerbahce, Parkhead, but I think he was on a bit of a hiding to nothing because it's not a good squad. That's why he was appointed in the first place, because things had not been going well. But I think he would have had to have been absolutely exceptional to keep the job. Did you just get allergic to my answer there?
No idea what I got allergic to, but it was when you've got a nose this size, when you sneeze, you hear it.
You did. You got off the mic. I was impressed by that, but I don't think Barry was. I don't think he had a real shot at it because the situation was impossible with that squad of players to turn them round and turn them into something. Sorry, the listener there was just, I agree with you, right? What happened to work ethics? I'm here.
Multiple man saying that was a violent sneeze.
It was a violent sneeze, yeah. Like as though you took it, anybody nearby, you're going to have to do a wall later where you've got that one down. But
do you know how many people give me Monty Python lines because I've got a Roman nose?
Right, okay. Moving back, I'll steer the conversation away from that one. I think that Barry's came in, he's done his best, but without wishing to be cruel, he's not up to what we need at the moment. His track record tells you that, as a manager. He came in when his club needed him, and he's done his best, and I think we all appreciate that, but we need to get better across this club. We need better players. We need better directors. We need better manager. We need better medical staff. There is nothing on the football side at that club that cannot and should not improve. So, as I say, wish Barry all the best. He's come in. He's done well. What I've liked about it is he's treated the fans like adults. He hasn't gaslit us or talked shite to us, which Clement did. Clement sat there and he sometimes you were thinking, did you just watch what I watched? Barry hasn't done that. He's been very honest. I think, as honest as he can be in the circumstances, and he's delivered some big moments. And I think, when he leaves, everyone will be thankful for his service. But, other than sentimentality, there is no reason to give him the job.
No, and he's not won a home game. Yeah, I think we all need to remember that.
Look, wonderful player, captain for Rangers, and stepped in. As did Neil McCann and Billy Dodds, by the way, walking away from commitments, stepped in when we really needed them to, and we thank them for that, and they'll be very fondly remembered for it. But I think realistically, we need to go out and get people who can come in and help get us up, because we don't need to go up a level, we need to go up several levels.
Yes, we do. Yes, we absolutely do. What do you think Barry's remit is then for the rest of the season? Is it because I was having this argument with, I can't remember who I was having an argument with, but I want to just see now players that I suppose Barry feels can offer something to the club moving forward. So, for example, the likes of Inciala, I want to see him getting as many minutes, if not every minute, of the last sort of 5 games. Igaman being played in his correct position. Finlay Curtis getting some game time. Bailey Rice getting some game time. What do you think Barry's remit is now?
I think that's a really reasonable point. Yeah, I think that you know, as a Rangers manager, you have to be winning games. I get it, but there is absolutely no upside for us in playing Robin proper instead of Clinton and Ciala in these matches. You're absolutely correct there. There is no upside to us whatsoever. Play Cortez, right?
Mm-hmm.
You may have a player who you feel could maybe help you win the game on that day a bit more, but the key thing for us moving forward now is to try and get something out of these guys. Play Curtis, play Rice. You're absolutely right, and that can be his legacy then. If in a year's time we're turning around and saying, "Oh, Enciala, he's come on a lot," and Bailey Rice got in the team at the end of last season. He's never been out it since. He's never looked back. Curtis came into side, scored a few goals. That can be his legacy. So yeah, I'd agree with that. I think you need to look at what the bigger picture is, and luckily for us, we have someone who is a Rangers supporter in there who I think will do that.
Just before we finish up, I have to take you back. Let's go back to that game away in Bilbao.
Mm-hmm.
Have you recovered from the penalty that was a penalty that wasn't given as a penalty? That was the clearest penalty. I'll just keep saying penalty.
No, I mean, did he think his shirt just spontaneously combusted? I mean, come on.
Well, according to Marvin Bartley, they do rip easy when you sweat.
It doesn't matter. It's still ripped. Whether it ripped easy or not, it ripped because something happened to it. Now, I get that you can miss it at the angle it's at because it is quick, and the guy's surreptitious. But as soon as Dessers ran up to me, if I was a referee, ran up and said, "Look," I'd go, "Oh, hold on, VAR, boy's shirt was ripped. What happened there?" And I'd be thinking, did someone pull his shirt? Because it looks as though someone pulled his shirt. It was a penalty. It was a penalty all day long. The second one was a penalty, the handball. We talked about this after the first leg. I don't particularly like the handball rule. I think it's a mess. But if Dujon Sterling gets penalised for that, then it's the same incident. It's hand away from the body, not trying to play it, but the ball bouncing up and hitting his hand. Dujon Sterling got done with it. It should have been a penalty kick. And again, in a VAR world, for both of these to not be considered was, piss poor. And, I think that as a team fair wee league, you're up against it anyway without that. But again, this is the thing, top 5 leagues, they get every possible frigging advantage given to England. Could have 6 teams in the Champions League group stage next season, whereas the vast majority of countries in Europe are going to have to play 2-3 qualifying rounds. It's not fair. There's not even a pretense at it being fair. It's not a level playing field, and unfortunately it's not going to be. It's not going to change. We're not big enough. We don't have a big enough TV viewership. To UEFA, we don't matter.
No, we don't. And that's why I do an EPL show as well. To a lot less people, but I do an EPL show. And people are still moaning and greeting about Man City. And I went, hold on a wee minute. I don't care how many charges they've got. I don't care if they're lied to be able to spend extra money. They've spent less than Man U, and Man U are paying working class people off in the richest league in the world, who get everything that they want. Hence the whole Super League thing. That's all this. It's just to appease clubs so they don't go to a Super League.
Yeah, I don't particularly agree with the whole PSR thing anyway, for the simple fact being
it's a nonsense.
That if you accept these people into football, so Qatar and the Saudis or whatever, and you say, okay, you're welcome to come in, and then you stop them spending their money, I'm like, well, either let them do that or don't let them in. Either say, no, you can't own a club because you're too rich and it would change the sport and competition. I can't think of many businesses where you can buy a business and want to spend the money that you have on it and not be allowed to. Check if they're good for it. Check if they actually have it. That you should do. Don't let some con man come in and claim to have money and sign up contracts and etc. and then not be able to fulfill them. But I think that, as you do, the idea. I think if you're doing things that are illegal, it's one thing, obviously. But yeah, I'm kind of like you. I don't
It's a
understand.
nonsense. I mean, I'm
What?
pretty sure Newcastle are richer than everybody in the world put together.
Yeah, Newcastle
Um,
could spend whatever they want, and the reason that you're absolutely right, the bigger clubs in England back PSR is because Liverpool, Man U don't want that. They don't want these guys coming in and spending this sort of money. But
nope.
as I say, my view on it is that you either believe in free market or whatever you want to call it, economies or whatever. I
Capitalism.
can understand. But then again, I'm saying that I'd maybe be saying something different if we were having to. But it's going to be frustrating for us if our new owners want to come in and spend loads of money and they can't cause a frigging PSR. But again, I think, in all seriousness, this is PSR hurts clubs like us who are trying to compete, who may have owners who could put in a bit of money that could help. Not stupid money either, right? But if Rangers could spend 50 million on players that their owners were willing to give us, that would make a hell of a difference to us.
Yeah.
But we can't because, again, and it's just all these things that are put in the path of clubs like us, the homegrown rule, right? Well, of course that's an advantage. If you have a country with a population of 100 million, that's a hell of a lot easier to fill your bench than a population of 5 million. It's all these things are put in place to protect the bigger countries, the bigger leagues. And we know that. And, UEFA don't care. And so that's the other thing. UEFA have no moral compass. You cannot shame them.
Oh.
You cannot embarrass them. They do not care.
No. Platini proved that, didn't he?
They ought to.
Yes, Jim Sloan, massive super chat. Thank you very much, Jim. Great pod, lads. Follow. Thank
Jim,
you.
did you just get money?
He did. He
Jim.
did. It's called a super chat. It's how people support creators, David.
I'm disgusted.
Wait till you see Heart and Hand will be on YouTube every day next week now.
I can't believe he gave you money after all my hard work. You're the one that's earning off it.
I'll buy you a coffee, David.
People do, and people think I'm the money tap. No, it's very well earned. I'm only yapping with you. But somebody did actually have a go at me on Twitter the other week. He said, what was he said? He's like, oh yeah. He said, stealing money from Rangers fans, and I thought, how am I doing that? He's like, charging for your stuff. I said, yeah, but I don't remember hitting anyone over the head and saying they had to pay it. Because if I was doing that, I'd have done it to a lot more and stole a lot more. But apparently, although it turned out to be somebody who had happily been giving me money up until we banned them off the website for racism, so that might have had something to do with it.
Oh well, I mean, see, this is I never get that argument, right? If you offer a service and people like it, then they'll continue with the service. If they don't like it, then they won't continue with the service.
Oh no, I know. It's funny actually. Sometimes people who in other areas of their life can be, quite, as I say, quite politically one way, but then they get a wee bit like very communist about this, and they're sort of like, well, where does the money go? And I don't even pretend. I just go, yeah, it goes on shite that I buy, mate. Dog treats and T-shirts, and
Mine goes
especially
on therapy because of how people in the comments treat me.
people are rough on you in the comments,
Yeah.
and I find that quite funny.
Yes,
But bad, obviously bad.
Well,
bad.
there's channel member Cammy with a super chat saying disgusting, David.
It's not the first time I've been called that, and I dare say it won't be the last. But I can't help it. This is how I look.
Somebody called me and you, and I showed it because I said the other day, I says, "Oh, me and David are back on Wednesday," and they went, "Oh, Dick and Dom."
Oh, right, wee bit before my time. I'm really old. Remember, you're young enough to remember that.
I don't have a clue.
No, the one I usually get is Stadler and Waldorf for the two old guys for the Muppets.
Yes, I see it.
Yeah, I can get. Well, I think I've got quite a kind of muppety face anyway. I think that's why I think dogs and babies, like whenever a family member brings a baby, they're always like, and I think to them I just look like Big Bird or something.
You can back me up here, as you can probably hear my dogs. You can back me up here. Martin rips us off, David, charges memberships and ends early. Right, hold on. Now, I would imagine somebody who's been doing it as long as you will have done
That's
your
brilliant.
research. You've done your
That,
research, yeah,
that's absolute. That's oh man, that comment of the night. I hope he goes to bed tonight just with a huge smile on his face
and
for
doesn't wake up.
nailing. No, hey,
I'm joking.
that was it was a way done at the timing of it. Sometimes you come up, you just need to hold your hand up and say, "I got done." Right.
What is the ideal time for a podcast, David, for people's enjoyment?
35 to 45 minutes. Every single study that's been done on it, and plenty have, the ideal pod length that listeners want normally is 35 to 45 minutes, apparently. So don't blame us, blame the science.
Because I used to do an hour for every single show. I do about 100
Yeah.
shows a week, and I
Yep.
thought it's too long. It's too long for people.
It depends what it is. I mean, there's certain ones, there's no, right or wrong. Personally, I think that it just depends what you're doing. But as a general rule, if you're starting a podcast tomorrow, listeners, the experts, the people who study this, will tell you that the optimum length of a podcast is 35 to 45 minutes. I actually think there's quite a big difference between 35 and 45. I think that's quite a wide
It's about 10 minutes.
range. Yeah, bang on. He flies on you. But I think I think that it would be.
It's like 42 minutes is like the perfect time or something. It's like 41 or 42 minutes is
That
like
is, yeah,
the perfect
that is
time.
this sweet spot. But it's interesting about the way people consume stuff. Listen, might not know I used to work social media. That was what I did, and we
So
used
that's what you
to.
meant you used to actually work.
I did no the proper job. I was a lecturer at university. I ran the social media for a university and lectured in it. And one of the things we did is about the way people can consume.
Mhm.
YouTube is 20 years old today. This was a lot closer to YouTube
Oof.
just coming out. What we found is, see if you took, we did a study, where you take test groups and stuff, comparative. We had this video and it lasted 20 minutes, and we sent it to one group of people who were all interested in the subject, by the way. And it was 20 minutes. And with the others, what we did is we sent them one clip that was 2 minutes, but would then lead on to the next if you watched it. And we found that with the 2 minutes people, something like 89% of them watched the whole thing.
Mhm.
The whole, they clicked on the first video but then they stayed and watched all the other one. That popped up automatically. Right? See the people with the 20 minutes that just got the full chunk. It's something like 30% opened it.
Mhm.
And the reason being is your brain sees that and goes, 20 minutes, fuck that. Whereas with the 2 minutes, you go, oh, okay, another 2 minutes. It's just the way we process stuff.
Yeah, 100% it is. 100% it is. If you've got a selection of stuff to watch and it's all on the same subject, and like you say, one's an hour, one's 45 minutes, one's half an hour, you're clicking on the short
That's
one.
it. No, and as I say, these were the exact same pieces of content, but people were happy to watch it one way, and they weren't happy to watch it the other, and it's just interesting. So, yeah, but I tend to think, for me personally, I tend to think 45 to an hour is your sweet Fitbit spot.
No, it's not.
All right, sorry.
And on that note, folks, 48 minutes in, we shall leave it there. David, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Thoroughly enjoyed it as always, and we'll see you in a fortnight.
Yes, and Martin just repeating David's analysis from his experiment. Well, I didn't know David had done an experiment. I should just say Stephen Watson, super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. And
Thanks,
Jim
Stephen.
Sloan again. Back in. I'm with you, Gallant, talking bollocks. I don't know if that's aimed at me or aimed at you, but one of us is talking bollocks.
Probably a bit. Well, I mean, that's probably a bit of both. But yeah, for most social media tips, stick to the Martin and David show.
Yes, absolutely. So there we go, folks. Thank you very much, David. Thank you for all the super chats and the comments as ever, guys. We're back tomorrow, 12:30 for the afternoon rabble. So we'll see you then. And until then, speak soon.